Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. It is a truly beautiful day to gather around and talk about our favorite folks in Port Charles. We always love sharing these moments with you, pouring a virtual cup of coffee, and diving right into the heart of the drama. So get comfortable, settle in, and let us explore the latest twists and turns together. I have got to tell you, my heart was just beating completely out of my chest watching the latest events unfold in our beloved Port Charles. We were finally introduced to a brand new face, and let me tell you, he is already stirring up a whole pot of trouble. The man of the hour is Simon, a music industry executive who just walked onto the scene, played by the very handsome and talented Grady Eldridge. When I saw him step into that recording studio, I just knew deep down in my bones that we were in for a bumpy ride. The atmosphere in that room was thick enough to cut with a butter knife. You could feel the heavy anticipation hanging in the air as Brooklyn Quartermain, our sweet Trina Robinson, and the very gifted Gio Palmieri gathered around. It was supposed to be a beautiful moment of triumph, a chance to really shine, but Simon clearly had other plans rolling around in his head. Now, we all know that Brooklyn is as fiercely protective as a mama bear when it comes to her people. So when Simon casually tossed out the idea of pairing Gio with another artist, completely brushing our dear Trina to the side like she did not matter, I nearly dropped my teacup. I could see the blazing fire light up in Brooklyn's eyes. She did not let that slide for a single second. She stood her ground, plain as day, and demanded that Trina get the spotlight she so rightfully deserves. It is moments exactly like these that make me so proud of the strong, resilient women on this show. Brooklyn was not about to let some big city music executive come into their territory and dim Trina's beautiful light. But Simon, acting as cool as a cucumber, just looked at Trina and instructed her to simply enjoy the moment during the next take. He delivered the message with this breezy, dismissive attitude that just rubbed me the wrong way, leaving a very bitter taste in my mouth. Oh, my heart just ached for Trina in that very moment. You could see the raw confusion and the slight sting of rejection washing over her beautiful face. Even though we did not get to hear the final song they were working on, the tension in that studio was loud and clear. The music director did take a moment to praise Gio's incredible talent, which is wonderful, of course, but the whole encounter just screamed that there are massive storm clouds gathering on the horizon. This was not just a simple disagreement over a song. This was the planting of a dark seed of doubt and frustration. Trina has worked so incredibly hard to find her footing, to build her confidence, and to have some stranger come in and treat her like an afterthought is just plain wrong. I sat there thinking about how often young folks face these kinds of hurdles in life, and it just made me want to reach straight through the television screen and give her a big, comforting hug. But before we get too deep into the dark and scary twists heading our way, I want to take a little detour and talk about the young man bringing Simon to life, because his real-life story is just as fascinating and as American as apple pie. Grady Eldridge is the actor's name, and he is a hardworking boy from the desert, born and raised in Yuma, Arizona. Knowing he comes from a place with such wide open spaces and blazing sunshine somehow makes him feel so much more grounded and real to me. He went to Yuma Catholic High School, graduating back in 2013, and then he made his way to Arizona State University, finishing up his degree in 2017. It just warms my heart to see a young man value his education and put in the hard work before chasing the bright lights of Hollywood. It shows a kind of dedication and strong family roots that you just do not see every single day anymore. And let me tell you, this boy knows the true meaning of elbow grease. Before he ever stepped foot onto a television set, Grady was out there hustling in Phoenix, working as a certified personal trainer. You can just imagine him helping folks get healthy, encouraging them, and building up that strong, healthy physique of his own. He also did some modeling, which is absolutely no surprise given his handsome, chiseled features. I remember reading an old interview he did with a local magazine back in 2018, where he described his life as being wonderfully nomadic. He was bouncing back and forth between Phoenix and Los Angeles, living out of his suitcase, all to make his big dreams come true. It reminds me of the classic stories we used to hear about folks packing up their cars and driving west with nothing but hope in their hearts. He put in the miles, and it is so deeply rewarding to see that kind of perseverance pay off. All that driving and dreaming finally led to him settling down in Los Angeles full time. And wouldn't you know it, The doors started opening for him left and right. He started booking big commercial jobs for massive companies like Google and Volkswagen. From there, he started getting his feet wet with smaller television roles, slowly but surely building a solid name for himself. He popped up in a show called The Sex Lives of College Girls over on HBO just a couple years ago, playing a character named Gabe. Then he showed up as Raphael in Dr. Odyssey, and he even snagged a wonderful guest spot as Eli in the final season of Hacks this very year. He is also playing a fellow named Max in a new project called Office Romance. Seeing his acting resume grow like a beautiful spring garden just brings a massive smile to my face. It is a true testament to what happens when you refuse to give up on your passions. Now, because I know we all love to know a little bit about the real people behind these characters, I did a little digging into his social media, bless his heart. He keeps things pretty close to the vest over on his Instagram page. He does not flaunt his personal life or try to be overly flashy, which I find so incredibly refreshing in this modern day and age. His old interviews mentioned he was a single man, and there is no public sign that anything has changed on that front. His little biography section simply calls him a healthy young man, and his pictures certainly prove that to be true. He posts the most gorgeous photos of his time out in nature. You can see he has a deep, abiding love for the great outdoors, sharing snapshots of peaceful beach walks and absolutely breathtaking wildlife trips. I was completely mesmerized looking at the pictures he took of majestic lions, gentle elephants, and sleek leopards. It takes a very special kind of soul to appreciate the quiet beauty of animals and nature like that. He also posts plenty of pictures from his time at the gym, showing off the impressive results of all that heavy lifting and hard work. But what I love the most were the silly, goofy pictures he shares with his close friends. You can see this genuine, down-to-earth personality shining through every single post. He looks like the kind of neighbor who would happily help you carry your heavy groceries inside or stop for a friendly chat over the garden fence. It is such a stark contrast to the slick, somewhat arrogant music executive he is playing on our screens, which just goes to show what a truly talented actor he really is. It is always a joy to welcome such a wholesome, hardworking young man to the General Hospital family. But now, my friends, we must turn our attention back to the drama in Port Charles, because the story they are weaving for Simon is far darker and more twisted than just a simple disagreement over a recording session. The rumors are swirling, and the ugly truth is starting to bubble up to the surface like a boiling pot of water on the stove. It turns out that Simon is not just some random music director who wandered into town to make a hit record. No, he is actually a pawn in a much larger, much more dangerous game. He has been sent by hidden enemies who have their sights set squarely on our beloved Curtis and Portia. When I realized this, a cold chill ran straight down my spine. Curtis and Portia have fought tooth and nail for their happiness, overcoming so many terrible obstacles to build their beautiful life together. To think that someone is using this music project as a Trojan horse to sneak into their lives and tear them apart is just heartbreaking. And who is caught right in the middle of this terrible, sticky web? Our sweet, innocent Trina. This horrible revelation is throwing Trina into a brand new, terrifying crisis. She is already dealing with so much emotional weight, and now she is becoming the target of an obsessive, dangerous plot. The very thing that was supposed to bring her joy and success is being twisted into a cruel weapon against her family. I can just imagine the heavy burden settling onto her young, fragile shoulders. Trina has always been so strong, always trying to do the right thing, but this kind of psychological warfare is enough to break anyone's spirit. She is being plunged into a state of deep anxiety, haunted by the unseen threats lurking in the shadows of the recording studio and the city streets. It is a living nightmare for a girl who just wants to find her place in the world. The danger is escalating at a frightening pace, and it is clear that this is not just about a music career anymore. It is about survival. The enemies manipulating Simon clearly have a deep-seated vendetta against Curtis, perhaps tied to his past investigations or his time working in the dangerous underbelly of the city. And by targeting Portia and Trina, they are hitting him right where it hurts, the absolute most. Trina is finding herself trapped in a terrifying maze where she cannot trust anyone around her. Every smile from Simon, every piece of professional advice he gives, is laced with hidden poison. I sit on the edge of my sofa, wringing my hands, just praying that Trina will see through the facade before it is too late. The intense obsession these enemies have with destroying her family is creating a suffocating atmosphere of fear that you can practically feel through the television screen. Thank goodness Trina is not facing this terrifying ordeal completely alone. This is where young Kai comes into the picture, and let me tell you, I am so deeply relieved she has him by her side. Kai has already proven himself to be incredibly sharp and observant. We already know he is neck deep in the dangerous situation involving Drew and Willow, having bravely figured out the dark truth about Willow's terrible actions. Now, he is being pulled into this new nightmare alongside Trina. The bond between Trina and Kai is being forged in the raging fires of immense danger. They are two young people carrying the heavy weight of the world, desperately trying to outsmart ruthless enemies who have years of experience in cruelty and manipulation. Kai's protective instincts are kicking into high gear, and he is absolutely determined not to let anyone harm a single hair on Trina's head.